Hello, my name is Eric Rogers and this is my deployment process video. For this video I'm going to be discussing the deployment process for Twitter, Etsy, and Flickr. For the deployment of the Etsy website, developers are divided up into a number of small teams, usually with 3 to 7 engineers. And these teams are paired up with a product manager and a designer, and everybody in the company uses IRC for communication between the team members. Lots of ideas are worked out on a wiki, and people around the company comment on those ideas and plans using Confluence. They plan in 60-day chunks and divide the deliverables up into 2-week periods. The 60-day plans go through a review, goals are set, and then they publish the plans on the wiki. The CEO participates in these reviews and stays in close contact with the product and engineering teams throughout the whole process. New developers will deploy on their first day. The goal for this is to constantly emphasize shipping and get over any deployment fears early on. Engineers get very productive very quickly because of this. And also the level of cooperation between developers and ops is also really high. The plan that Etsy uses is that they practice continuous deployment and make small changes frequently to the site. They use what they call configuration flags, which are more or less an exact copy of what Flickr does, which really is just a if-then statement more or less in their code system that will tell them that if it is flagged to hide the code from the public and don't use this feature. The code for features runs dark for days or weeks, and feature launches mean flipping a switch in the code, which basically means to disable the configuration flag that hides the code from the public-facing site. Product managers make changes and do deploys. Trained aspiring developers on the support team will make small changes with help and guidance. So now for the deployment of Twitter. Twitter has thousands of servers, and that becomes a major problem for many deployment strategies. So they had to figure out how to quickly get multiple iterations of code and binaries on all of them on a regular basis. And they used to use a Git-based deploy system, but once they got past a few hundred servers, things got ugly, and it became a big hassle to actually deploy their code. So they needed a way to dramatically speed things up. So they came up with a way to use BitTorrent as a way to deploy their code. So using the file sharing protocol, they launched a side project called Murder, and after a few days and especially nights of nervous full site tinkering, it turned a 40-minute deploy process into one that lasts just 12 seconds. Murder, which by the way is the name for a flock of crows, is a combination of scripts written in Python and Ruby to easily deploy large binaries throughout your company's data centers. It takes advantage of the fact that the environment in which a data center is somewhat different from a regular internet connection, has low latency access to servers, high bandwidth, no NAT firewall issues, no ISP traffic shaping, and only trusted peers, etc. This let them come up with a list of optimizations on top of BitTornado to make BitTorrent not only reasonable, but also effective on their internal network. At the time, they used Capistrano for signaling the servers to perform tasks. Murder also includes a Capistrano deploy strategy to make it easy for existing users of Capistrano to convert their file distribution to be decentralized. Murder, like many internal Twitter systems, is fully open sourced for your contributions and usage at the following address, which is the github.com/lg/murder. For deployment of Flickr, Flickr uses Subversion, which is basically a platform similar to Git. They encourage their developers to deploy often. Basically, if a developer commits, then they should be deploying as well. Unreleased features are kept hidden by feature flag. The entire deployment process is performed by the developer. The developer will develop the feature or change to the code. Then they will perform local tests that are relevant to what they are working on. And then they will check in using Subversion. Once this has been completed, they will stage the feature or change and perform more testing to make sure that everything is going well on the staging server. And after that, they will deploy the code, and many times using the configuration flag to keep the deployed code from being visible on the public facing site. And after all the deployed features have been cleared, the flags are removed and the new features become active.